Twitter has a new CEO officially. LinkedIn pays for being spammy, and Mark Zuckerberg is beaming internet down from space. Tech News Tonight is next.
This is Twit.
This is Tech News Tonight, episode 438 for Monday, October 5th, 2015. This episode is brought to you by Epson's new EcoTank printers. With Epson's line of SuperTank all-in-one printers, you can print thousands of documents without running out of ink. EcoTank is loaded and ready to print when you are. Visit epson.com/EcoTank to find out more. Welcome, I'm Megan Maroney. Let's get to today's big news. After months of searching and a week of rumors and speculation, Twitter finally made it official today by naming Jack Dorsey as the new CEO. Joining us to talk about the story that he broke last week is Kurt Wagner from Recode. Welcome, Kurt.
Hey, Megan. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So the big question was whether Dorsey would be able to continue to head his current company, Square, and run Twitter at the same time. What's the news there?
He can, or at least he's going to try. So the announcement that came out this morning was that Dorsey is going to be the permanent CEO of Twitter, and he's maintaining his permanent CEO of Square position. And so at least for the near future, we're going to find out if he's able to run two companies at the same time, soon to be potentially two public companies at the same time. So that should be quite the challenge.
So Dorsey, of course, he co-founded Twitter. For those who don't know, why did he leave Twitter?
Oh, man, that's a long story. So he was one of the co-founders of Twitter, and he was actually the CEO in 2008 and was pushed out at that time by kind of other co-founders and the board who didn't think that he was the right person to run the job. Came back in 2011 to be executive chairman and head of product at the company. Not actually CEO, but still very heavily involved. And he lasted about 18 months and then decided, I guess he decided to go work at Square, but not after kind of burning a few bridges. He fired a lot of people. He was not a great communicator. And really, there was some frustration with his involvement inside, and he was kind of pushed out for a second time. And now he's back, time number 3.
And has anything changed? I mean, you have a piece called Why Jack Dorsey is Ready to Save Twitter. What's changed since then?
Well, that was a question we tried to answer for about a month, really, was if this is going to happen a third time like we expected it to, what the heck is different and why are they willing to take another chance on him? So we talked to more than 20 current and former colleagues of his to ask, what's his management style like? Because I don't think there's anyone who argues that he's got this great sense of what the product should be. And he's a product visionary, as a lot of people like to describe him. But like, what's he like as an actual manager and a businessman? And what we learned was that the Jack Dorsey that's taking over Twitter today appears to be a much more mature and thoughtful version than who was there in 2011 and definitely there in 2008. And I think that his time at Square has forced him to, probably hone his managerial skills, and B, also learn to delegate a little bit more. So one of the big things that a lot of people told us was that he's hired a superstar team of executives at Square so that when he's not able to do things day in and day out the way he might want to, especially now that he's going to be running two companies, there are people in place to make sure that everything still operates smoothly. And so that'll be a challenge for him at Twitter. But ultimately, the thing that everyone just kept saying is this is a different Jack. This is a much more mature Jack Dorsey. And so now we'll kind of find out if that's indeed the case. But so far, for the last 4 months, he's been doing both jobs, and people have been saying really positive things about him.
Do you think a lot of people are hoping this is going to be like a Steve Jobs second time at Apple sort of situation?
I think that Jack Dorsey hopes that it'll be a Steve Jobs second time at Apple kind of situation. I think that people who care about Twitter and who care about Square, which are a lot of the people that we talk to, they certainly hope it works out. And so, in that instance, yes, I think there are a lot of people who are hopeful that this is going to be a good long-term fix.
And so will there be a shakeup at the board too? Like, that's kind of what we've been hearing. Do you know anything about that?
So what was announced today is that Dick Costolo, the former CEO of Twitter, is stepping down from the board. They're going to be looking to replace him, and also they said they're going to try and find a chairman for the board who's not Jack Dorsey, the CEO of the company. So they're going to look for an outsider to come in and be chairman of Twitter's board. We don't really know a whole lot more than that. I don't think it's surprising. I actually wouldn't be surprised if more board members step down over the next couple months. I think that board has been in place for quite a while. And one of the knocks on the board is that they haven't always done things the simplest and most efficient way possible. And I think that there's a lot of people who think there needs to be some new blood. And also, the knock is that a lot of them actually aren't that active on Twitter. And so, it's a little interesting, maybe ironic that the people who are making all the big time decisions for the company aren't at least visibly using the product. And I'm sure that people would love to see a board that's a little bit more active on Twitter and therefore familiar with what kind of stuff that they need to be doing.
The other big social media news is that Mark Zuckerberg announced on Facebook today the first project to beam internet down from space. The project has been in the works or talked about for a while. It's part of Facebook's internet.org efforts to connect millions of people without internet access. I guess they're partnering with a company called Utelesat to launch a satellite into orbit to connect people living in remote regions. How much do you know about this project?
Well, I know what they're sharing is pretty much what you just read, which is that Facebook is going to be sending and beaming internet access down from outer space. And this is no surprise. They've been talking about internet.org for a few years now in ways that they can try and connect a lot of who are in emerging markets around the world to the internet and ultimately to Facebook. A few months ago, they showed off their Aquila drone, which was a little lightweight plane that's going to fly between 60 and 90,000 feet above the earth and do pretty much the same thing. This is the first I think we've seen of them actually beaming internet from outer space, but I think that this is going to be something that they focus on. It's been a pet project of Zuckerberg for the last couple of years. I think this is going to be something they focus on quite a bit over the next few years.
Well, Kurt, thank you so much for joining us. Kurt Wagner is a reporter at Recode. He is on Twitter at KurtWagner8, and you can read all of his excellent coverage on the search for Twitter's CEO as well as just what is up with Jack. And that is a great long piece, a great long read. Thank you, Kurt.
Thanks so much for having me.
Take care. Coming up, supercharged Google Now on tap and a baby robot grows up. But first, this episode is brought to you by Epson. Epson's revolutionary EcoTank line of printers for home and office introduces a new age in printing. The new EcoTank ET4550 wireless all-in-one printer doesn't use ink cartridges. It features an innovative refillable ink tank. It comes with enough ink to print up to 8,500 pages. That's equivalent to about 50 ink cartridge sets. You're loaded and ready to print for about 2 years. Powered by Epson's leading-edge precision core technology, it delivers high-speed, vivid colors, and laser-quality black text. Plus auto two-sided printing, a 30-page auto document feeder, and easy wireless printing from tablets and smartphones. All EcoTank printers deliver an unbeatable combination of convenience and value with ultra-low-cost replacement ink bottles. Now you have the freedom to print without running out of ink. So visit Epson.com/EcoTank today to transform the way your home, office, or work group prints. For the best combination of ease and value, turn to the new Epson EcoTank printers. That's EPSON.com/EcoTank. And we thank Epson for their support. The newest version of Android is now rolling out to the Nexus 5, 6, 7, and 9, and the Nexus Player. The new OS, called Android Marshmallow, will come pre-installed on Google's new Nexus 5X and 6P phones. Marshmallow features longer battery life, automatic app data backup, support for fingerprint readers, and Google Now on tap, which is Google Now with more oomph. It gives you access to more information about whatever you're doing with a single tap. Adobe unveiled a whole slew of new mobile apps today that offer some of Photoshop's best features for free if you have a Creative Cloud subscription. Photoshop Fix and Capture CC make mobile retouches and asset capture much easier. Now, for a quick overview and demo of some of the features in the new apps, you can watch the other show I do, iOS Today, where Leo showed them off in the most recent episode. If you have an email account and you've ever had a job, then chances are you've been spammed by LinkedIn. You know what I'm talking about, those pesky emails that say someone in your contact list wants to add you to their professional network on LinkedIn. Those messages were annoying, kind of useless, and as it turns out, very costly for LinkedIn. The professional social network has now agreed to pay $13 million in class action lawsuit for sending those emails. You too can collect if you were a member of LinkedIn's Ad Connections program from September 2011 to October 2014. The payout probably won't be much, but was it really that embarrassing or annoying? LinkedIn promised to increase the total amount by $750,000 if enough people participate in the class action suit and users receive less than $10. Microsoft is set to make some big announcements tomorrow about the Surface Pro 4, 3 Lumia phones running Windows 10 Mobile, and more. We'll be streaming the event live at 6:45 a.m. Pacific time here on Twit. You can join Leo Laporte, Mike Elgin, and special guests for their commentary at twit.tv/live. And finally, the number of the day is 10. That's how many days it took a deep learning robot to teach itself how to grasp. It used to be that robots were great at things that were difficult for humans, but embarrassingly bad at things any old baby could do, like grabbing an object. According to the MIT Technology Review, that might all be changing. Now, we've talked about Baxter before on this show. That's the two-armed industrial robot interacting in a preschool environment to find out if it could learn in the same way a child learns, by trial and error, because what could possibly go wrong with that? Baxter has conventional neural network pre-trained in object recognition. In 700 hours, Baxter performed 50,000 grasps on 150 different objects, which led to a grasping accuracy of 62%, so roughly that of a baby or a drunk person. That's it for this edition of Tech News Tonight. You can subscribe to the show at twit.tv/TN2. You can write to us at tn2@twit.tv and watch live every weekday at 4 p.m. Pacific. And don't miss our morning news program, Tech News Today, every weekday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm Megan Maroney. Thanks for watching.
Bandwidth for Tech News Tonight is brought to you by CashFly.com.